call this meeting in order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is public input. I only have one person written down, Mr. Torrieta, the county assessor.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Mayor and board members. Well, I'm sorry. You know, I should know that by now. You know that? You know, I was sitting in the, with the audience, and I guess our chairman goes, "No, you need to sit over here." And I said, "Okay, all right, I'll sit there, but I like it back here better." My name is Raul Torrieta. I'm your new county assessor. Been involved in the assessment process for the last 35 years. This year will be 35. And I guess I'm back in the saddle again. I would just like to let the public know, and especially the town of Silver City, that I did mail out our rendition forms, and that has to do with all your personal property, to render your personal property, to render your livestock, to render grazing, and any of your veterans 100% disabled or that have, that have served in the military, has a $4,000 exemption. Just come into the assessor's office and we can go from there. Another thing is the 65 years and older, we do have a freeze in valuation for the year 2015. They adjusted that to $32,000 income, and you have to prove that you're over 65 years, so got to bring in your ID, and we can actually freeze your values. By doing that, it takes about a couple years before you can actually see it on your assessment process, on what your taxes are and so on. You're only freezing values, not taxes. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. And you're actually just freezing the valuation of your property. And your tax rate could go up or go down. But in 3 years, if you constantly go in on a yearly basis to file for your 65 years and older, after the third year, you don't have to do that. It automatically goes on the books by freezing your values on a yearly basis. The only way it's going to change is you transfer a property, selling it, pass away, giving it to family members, or whatever the case may be. Then you're taken off as the freeze, and the process starts all over again. I would like to make a couple of reports, if I may, Mayor, board members. In August 1st of 2014, our county mapper went ahead and retired. And I would like to clarify this. When she retired, she actually left the office, and I'm talking the mapping department, where all the deeds were already processed, and we were in the process for them to train somebody. However, nobody else was hired for that position at that time. During my absence, I was taking the assessor's office on January 1 of 2015. These deeds were not processed. Okay, so I would like to state that my chief deputy, her name is Jennifer Baraza. She actually used to work for P&M as an engineer. She also worked for Silver City Engineers Incorporated, and also in the assessor's office with the mapping department. So we have these deeds that have not been processed due to the fact that the county commission went ahead and transported the mapping department over to the planning department. So I have no warrant to do anything in that position due to the fact that it's in the planning department. However, I am going to fix the situation. I'm supposed to mail out my notices of evaluation come April of 2015. The issue is I need to get these deeds processed. So I asked the city, I asked the county to please be patient. It's going to take me a little while to get these deeds processed. At this moment, we're down to about 400 deeds. Once this process happens, it goes to the planning department. You file your deed in the county clerk's office, then it goes over to the assessor's office and ships on over to the mapping department. Now it's actually the planning department. That has to be done through a title examiner. With that title examiner, they make sure that all the chain of ownership gets processed properly, and then it ships over into the county assessor's office. That's where you get your notice of evaluation with the proper name, situs, legal description. So I would just like to make that statement that please, I'll ask Grant County to please be patient, and I just want to thank Silver City and the County of Grant to put me back in there and having the confidence for me being your next county assessor. And if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, board members, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is council comments. Councilor Bettison?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few comments. First, I'd like to talk just briefly about the burglaries that have occurred in Silver City. I'm going to ask the chief to just mention that. We've had about 6 in District 1, and I know that folks are pretty concerned about that. He can talk about it during his report and give you an update on where we are on those burglaries. I also wanted to let folks know there's a lot of folks in District 1, and I'm sure in other areas of Silver City that are thinking now about doing neighborhood watches. We have some really great ones in certain neighborhoods that really are very effective. If you'd like to develop a neighborhood watch group in your area, neighborhoods are really defined by the people that want to be part of something like this. Please contact the Chief of Police, Ed Reynolds, and he will work with you to create those neighborhood watches and to give you some pointers. I can tell you that people are already doing that because over the weekend, when I was handing out a few things about an upcoming conversations with the counselor that I'm doing, I had someone told me today that they almost ran out of the house, almost called Central Dispatch, because they didn't recognize the car, and then when they saw me get out of it, they realized that it was me. So people are on edge, and I just want to make sure that folks know how to get the neighborhood watch for your neighborhood completed, and that's to talk with the chief, and he'll help you. I've had some concerns mentioned to me about South Swan and its intersection with Silver Heights, and you know that there's like a really very, very narrow little island, very narrow little island that was built on South Swan, and because of the CVS. And so folks coming from north of Silver Heights, crossing over to South Swan, currently the lanes are set up as they always have been, with the right lane only for right-hand turns and the left lane for left-hand and straight. So the chief and I will be talking about what we can do to maybe make that a little bit easier, and making sure that there are turn signs posted like there are on South Swan going north, what you can do in each lane. The concern has been is that folks wanting to turn or go straight, maybe in the right lane, and all of a sudden realize they're in the wrong one, but they'll dash across. And the folks that are in the left lane that's for going straight also have to contend with this little narrow, island that has a nice yellow flag so people won't hit it. And then dealing with folks that, are trying to switch lanes at the same time. So it's a little squashy right there, and we'll try to figure out how we can make it more efficient so folks know which way to turn in which lane. On January 22nd, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Western New Mexico University in the Stute Memorial Building on the 3rd floor seminar room, I'm going to have a conversations with the counselor. It's for District 1. We're going to talk, some of the conversation starters are the public safety and recent burglaries, fire preparedness and prevention, and some of the concerns that we have up in the Ursa Major area with illegal dumping, dog waste, it's a polite way to say something that several neighbors talked to me about, and the District 1, District 2 interface and the fire preparedness all along that ridge. So the special guests will be District 2 Town Councilor Linda Amon Smith, because of that interface right there. Town Manager Alex Brown, who will be working and talking about recent burglaries, answering any other questions that folks might have. And then Silver City Fire Chief Tim Heydrich, who will be there to talk about fire preparedness and prevention, since I think we all remember that the Quail Ridge fires started in early March, about 4 years ago now. And there's definitely sufficient time for open forum for citizen concerns, comments, and issues. Please do come. I'll be out making sure folks know about it. It's on the website that this is going to happen and where it's located, so you can download your own little PDF of the information. So I have two more things. One is I've had a couple of folks concerned about dogs that were outside in the rough weather that we've had recently. There's not much that the town could do about it, because the dogs had food and water and some sort of shelter, although the dogs did not want to be in the shelter, and their food and water was frozen from the snow. So I just ask that those of you who may leave your animals for an extended period of time with sufficient food and water shelter, which is what's required, that you actually have a neighbor or someone that you trust be able to bring them inside and feed them food that's not frozen, water that's not frozen. Animals don't always choose to stay in the doghouse that you've made for them. So I just would like people to think about that, because people are doing everything right by providing food, water, and shelter. It's just that it was extremely cold, and weather like today, once again, I had a couple phone calls about that as well. And one more thing, I just want to thank our Public Works Department and let everybody know that if you have a need to pick up yard waste, you don't have a truck, you can't take it to the dump, or you have a mouse infestation like I did, and you have to clean out everything in your pantry, you can call the Public Works, and they will come by and do curbside pickup. And I found that to be great. I'm not sure everybody knows about it. I guess a number of people do already, but I just want to make sure everybody in Silver City knows that that's available, especially if you're disabled, if you don't have a truck, if you have no way to get down to the dump. And they're very, very easy to work with. And all these years that I've lived in Silver City, I didn't know that that was possible. So I really appreciate them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a resolution this year for myself, and that's to express gratitude. I was thinking about that today, and I just want to say how grateful I am for all the engaged and informed citizens who serve on town committees and boards. All of the volunteers, all of the people who are doing good work in our community. I just want to say thank you. It makes a big difference, and I really am seeing it everywhere when I'm looking around at boards and activities. Thank you. I just want to say one more thing, and that is, as an active volunteer myself, I want to put out a little plea. The library offers digital literacy training to folks who, all the way from just how do you set up an email account to hopefully more exciting and more marketing and useful for small business uses of technology. And train the trainers. If you would be interested in stepping up and helping to create more geekiness in the town of Silver City, you can call the library and get on. I will be at the Train the Trainer training on February 4th, because I'm going to step up and do that. But thank you all who do volunteer so much in our community.
Thank you. Councilor Ray?
No comment.
Councilor Connell?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I would like to say that sometimes it's the smallest things that really make a big difference. And I've had several constituents mention to me that the sanitation department has recently changed their policy on how they collect recycling. They actually get off their truck and put the recycling bin back in front of the house instead of just kind of tossing it, and they've been very thankful for that. So thank you to the sanitation department for that. Also, school board elections are coming up. It's very important if you live in District 3 or 5 that you have your voice be heard. So open voting is from now until January 30th from 8 to 5 in the county clerk's office, and on February 3rd, which is the actual election day. So I know both papers have been running some things about the people who are running, so please check that out and then vote. And then the last thing is today I spent some time with the Silver High journalism class. It was great. I have not been in a group of such engaged teenagers in a long time, so I'm hoping to continue to work a little bit with them. Hopefully they will be joining us at a meeting at some point, and so I would just like to thank Mrs. Wex, who is their teacher, for allowing me to come and speak to them as a counselor.
Thank you. I have no comments at this point. Does anybody need round two? Councilor Bedison?
Thank you, Mayor. The one thing I forgot to say is that I wanted to let the Silver City Police Department and the chief know how grateful everyone who did have a burglary and all the people that I've talked to so far in District 1 are, that they have been so proactive and so visible, and they appreciate the detectives that they're working with. They really just couldn't say enough good things about how great and how responsive the Silver City PD has been about this. So kudos. Thank you.
Thank you. And very quickly, I guess I do have something to say. Happy New Year to everybody. First meeting of the year. Hopefully it's a good year for Silver City and all of our residents and neighbors and visitors alike. And maybe piggybacking off Councilor Amon Smith a little bit, I too have a tremendous amount of gratitude for all our volunteers. One of the things I've noticed as I've worked with a number of groups and agencies is we have a small group of people in our community that do a tremendous amount. And of course, they are focused on their energy, or their desires, their wants, their needs. So in many cases, we find ourselves on a singular focus in so many of our charitable events and activities, and that frustrates a number of our residents. Why don't we do other things? Why don't we do new things? Well, we need to help that small group of people who's floating around doing all the work, and so anybody who has any interest in any activity, any type of event they would like to do, or anything that they want to see improved in our town, please make your New Year resolution to participate and help move Silver City forward. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is any changes to the agenda?
Yes, sir.
That being said, we'll move on to approval of minutes. Councilor Bedison?
Thank you. I move to approve the minutes of the regular town council meeting of December 9th, 2014.
Councilor Amon Smith?
I second that motion as stated.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, December 9th, 2014. Is there any discussion? No discussion. We have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, December 9th, 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is staff reports. Mr. Marshall? You should know that.
Yeah, I should know that. I always left mine on. There's several staff reports tonight, and if we could actually start with the library.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. I'd like to... I'd like to give kind of a mini report tonight, really on one specific project that we're involved with at the public library, and that is the digital literacy project. And thank you, Councilor Amon Smith, for the plug about the Train the Trainer workshops that are upcoming. We've been offering free technology training at the library since July, through a grant that we received through the Freeport-McMoran Community Investment Fund. And without that funding, that project would not have been possible. It really supplied the technology that we needed to make that happen. This has been a very broad partnership, and I'd like to recognize the partners involved. We have had the Baird Public Library as a partner, the Western New Mexico University Adult Education Services, New Mexico Small Business Development Center, New Mexico Workforce Solutions, Literacy Link, and the Silver City Arts and Cultural District, all involved in this project. And they've been coming in offering free technology training in our community. It's been going very, very well. We have had everything from really basic skills, people coming in learning how to use a mouse, how to turn on a computer, to small businesses coming in to learn about marketing using social media, and sort of everything in between. We're doing everything from kind of formalized classes that meet several times a week to drop-in open labs where people can come in and bring their devices in, and we provide whatever assistance we can with the questions that they have. To date, we have had 56 individual sessions that we have held since basically the end of January for adults, and we have also used our technology to provide another 9 workshops for youth in our community that have a technology component as well. The total attendance for all of these sessions that we've had so far has been almost 400 total people attending these workshops. So it's been going very, very well, and we're really excited about what we've been able to offer, particularly with the support of Freeport Community Investment Fund and with the partners that we have in the community. And I did also want to just give a plug for the Train the Trainer workshops that are coming up. And really what this is about is a way to have sustainability for this project, that we can keep it going in our community and build capacity for technology training in Silver City. And so we are asking for people who have an interest in technology, if you have some basic skills and you feel like you're at a level where you could sit down and show somebody, how to set up a Facebook page or how to use a mouse, how to set up an email account. We're looking for people who might be interested in being volunteer trainers. We have Eva Archschwager, who is coming down from Santa Fe, who is with the broadband, New Mexico Broadband Project, and she has a background specifically in digital literacy as a consultant and as a trainer. And the workshops that will be held in February, these are February 3rd and 4th and February 24th and 25th, are geared towards giving people some tools to actually feel comfortable training. So the first couple workshops will really be around some tips on how do you just work with technology in terms of training, how do you work with people in that kind of way. And the second group of workshops at the end of the month will be a little bit more specific and targeted towards things like how would you teach basic email skills, how would you teach basic social media skills. So if you're at all interested, we would love to have volunteers, and please get in touch with the library, Lillian Galloway specifically. Our number is 538-3672. And I'd also just like to take a minute to recognize Lillian Galloway, who has been the coordinator of this project. She is the one who's been on the front line really organizing our partners, getting everything scheduled, and she's done just an absolutely fabulous job with that. And so she is the contact if you're interested in the Train the Trainer. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Marshall? John Cook?
Yes, Mayor and Council, and to the public, I'd like to provide some election information. Last week, we had candidates file for their candidacy for District 1 and District 3 councilors. The certified candidates for District 1 are Cynthia Ann Bettison and Ronald G. Perez. For District 3 counselor, the certified candidate is Jose A. Ray, Jr. Today, there were no write-in candidates that filed. Also, absentee voting begins at City Hall on January 27th. People can call me at City Hall to get an absentee application to begin that process, or they can come into City Hall on that date to do it. Early voting on the vote tabulator machine begins on February 11th. The last day for persons to register to vote for our election is on February 3rd with the county clerk's office. And anybody who needs to update their names or addresses should also see the county clerk by that date in order to vote in our election for District 1 and 3. On March 3rd, Election Day, the voters will go to our voting convenience center at the Women's Club. That will be the only polling location for voting for Districts 1 and 3. This should be very convenient for the voter. The Women's Club's right there on Highway 180. It's central in town. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think the ease of the voter in the polling place, there'll be a difference. It'll be more automated. It should be a little quicker, I hope, and I'm hoping the closing of the polls will be a little quicker. This is our first go at it, so we'll see how it goes this year. Also, we have openings on those boards and committees you've been talking about. So let me announce those. We have openings on the Grant County Silver City Extraterritorial Subdivision. There's 2 regular members and 2 alternate members that we're looking for. The Museum Board has 2 positions open. The Incentive Review Committee has 3 positions open. We need one from District 2, we need a person from District 4, and we need an at-large member for the Incentive Review Committee. The Planning and Zoning Commission has 1 position open, preferably a person from either District 2 or 4. And then the Library Board has 1 position open. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions about the upcoming election or boards and committees.
Anybody have any questions? Any other reports? Chief?
It's on. Okay. Don't have to hit the button. Mayor, City Council, Happy New Year. Glad to be back in the office doing some work. I was off for 3 weeks. During that period of time, from the 20th through about the 28th, we actually had 11 burglaries that occurred within Silver City. 6 of those happened between Silver Heights up to 25th, and then from approximately Juniper Street, Main Street, over to Swan Street. Our officers were very successful in impacting those burglaries that occurred. As a result of a burglary that happened at Billy's Barbecue, the officers served a search warrant on a residence of Ventura Apartments and recovered quite a bit of stolen items in a number of different burglaries. So these burglaries were actually committed by 1 to 2 individuals. One of them's already been charged in one, and we expect more charges to be filed as a result of the good hard work by the Field Services and Investigative Unit of the Silver City Police Department. We had a couple of other burglaries that ended up occurring that we probably can't associate these individuals with, but we have developed further suspects on those as well. We've been very successful this year in reducing the number of burglaries that have occurred within Silver City. I just finished up part of the stats for 2014. Excuse me. 2013, we had 201 burglaries reported in Silver City. 2014, we've reduced that to 149. We've done that through good hard work and catching more of the burglars. Guys are working hard at it. As for Neighborhood Watch please contact me. I'll assign somebody, or I will attend any meetings. The first meeting should be an organizational meeting to determine goals and benefits of having a neighborhood watch and to impart some information. Generally, the first meeting is geared towards the question and answer. We've had occasions where that's all the people want is some questions answered, and then it doesn't go any further. We would like to see it go further. We would like to have every area in town have a neighborhood watch. And that goes to the benefit of the neighborhood. The example being up where these last burglaries ended up occurring, neighbors keep an eye on each other and report any suspicious activity that goes on. We saturated that area with not only patrol officers but unmarked units during the period of time that these burglaries were happening. We also received tips from the public as well, and that's what we want. Either call Crime Stoppers or call dispatch, and if it's something is seen going on immediately, call dispatch and let us know so an officer can respond to it. A couple of other things that I want to kind of get straightened out. One thing that's been being put on Facebook is, and the term robbery is used frequently for a number of different crimes that happen. Robbery is an act of a perpetrator using either a gun, weapon, or strong arm to take property from another person or victim. They are both present at the time. A burglary is the unlawful entry into a business, residential, watercraft, shed, etc., for the purpose of committing a theft or a felony therein. So I just want to explain terminology here, because robbery really sounds worse than what a burglary is. Both are bad crimes, so I'm getting it wrong. A robbery invokes the vision of somebody at gunpoint being held and robbed of personal possessions. So again, I just want to get that out there because that's a lot that's on Facebook right at the moment. Any questions?
Is there any questions? I wouldn't mind just adding to that same vein. Also on Facebook, there was a comment as to our plastic bag ban, and some of the comments that were posted with that is, why doesn't the town ban burglaries, which burglaries are banned? Or why don't we, what did they say, ban, there was something else like ban speeding. Well, speeding is banned. So just to clarify, there's a lot of information that's going out there that there's misinformation created through some of these media sources, and I'm glad you brought some of your points up, because we want to make sure that the public is aware of what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Anything else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. Happy New Year. And along the lines of some of the comments on Facebook, I think it's important to know that the town's working on a multitude of projects, and I typically give you a report on one thing that I've worked on in the month, but I can tell you a local businessman presented at the last council meeting. The chief and I went and visited him and gave him an opportunity to elaborate on his comments and thoughts. Continuing to work with Harry's Daily with the juvenile probation on some very innovative efforts to improve the town as well as building our children and the skills that they offer. Mr. Brown asked me to give you a list of some of the bills that have either a direct impact on the town operations or our town priorities, such as the predatory lending. So what you have before you is a very short list. I've got about 30 bills that I'm going to be looking at and dissecting further on my computer, but I didn't think you wanted to go through all of those in the meeting. The first one, Senate Bill 32, changes the Local Economic Development Act and eliminates the retail exclusion. So those of you that are familiar with that know that if we were not able to incentivize a retail business, if this was to pass, we would be able to, as well as remove the municipality under 10,000 population, which gave some additional incentive authority. The Senate Bill 78 is an appropriation to improve planning, tracking, and mapping of community and economic development projects, technical and grant administration. This is a bill that absolutely supports our Council of Governments, and they've been very, very valuable to the town. There's a discussion draft, there's no number on it, on the creation of a regional water authority, establishing powers and duties. And this is a very complex bill and has some very, very serious powers within that bill that we're gonna watch and see how we should respond to those. The House Bill 38 creates Forest and Watershed Restoration Board, creates a fund for watershed restoration economic development that promotes forest products industry, and it's requesting $1.2 million. And obviously that's a very important bill in this area with our watershed concerns that we have, as well as the existing and the opportunity for forest products. The HB 58 is a gas tax bill. On the municipal gas tax, it drops it 1% over the next 5 years. That's a concern to us. There's our road fund, which is already suffering. Additionally, it's a really complex bill. It changes certain taxes on fuels from percentages to an actual cent, 21 cents versus a certain percentage. So that actually may create some stability or an increase in the tax, because as the price goes down, you may use more and you're buying more gallons, and even though the percentage is lower. So that's a really, really complex bill, and we're going to see what we can do to protect our road fund. HB 100 is qualification-based procurement. This is about the third year this bill's been heard, and it allows for qualification-based procurements for architects, engineers, landscape architects, or surveyors. And that's really, really important that you not always go with low bid on some of those professional services. So we would support that. There's numerous tax bills that were considered over the interim by the Legislative Finance Committee. They haven't dropped them yet. They are listed as to what they've considered. There is a couple of hold harmless bills that they have heard in committee. I think you've all seen the news on how the municipal league's proposal has been received. At the bottom of the list that I prepared was basically an inventory of pre-filed bills. So the legislative session does not start till next Tuesday, a week from today. There has already been 118 House bills, 3 House joint resolutions, 6 House memorials, and 3 House joint memorials. And then Senate side, 168 Senate bills, 1 Senate joint resolution, 2 Senate memorials, and 5 Senate joint memorials. And the Senate joint resolution and House joint resolution combined, there's 4. Those are constitutional amendments. And so there's already a bunch of bills there. In a 60-day session, it's open to anything and everything. So there could be close to 1,000 bills. And we will do our best to track them and make sure that Silver City is represented throughout the session, and work in partnership with all of you to make sure that gets done. Any questions?
Councilor Mason?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question, Mr. Marshall. The question says on these constitutional amendments, is there anything that would impact municipal revenues or the constitutional provisions so that anything that's bonded will be covered?
Not at this time, with exception of the economic development. There's a constitutional amendment recommended for economic development incentives, that any of them that are issued by the state would have a 10-year sunset forever. So every 10 years, there would have to be some sort of action to either continue it or it would go away.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you. Any other staff reports, Peter? Okay. Moving on to new business. First item on the agenda, or first item under new business is approval, disapproval of resolution number 2015-01, open meetings.
This is our annual open meetings resolution. We do it at the first meeting of every year. It details where the location of your meetings are, the notice requirements, the fact that we have to provide agendas to the public within 72 hours for regular meetings and special meetings. Emergency meetings, of course, are an emergency, so it's a different scenario. It also covers our boards, councils, and commissions. It covers the closed meetings for the council, and it does list the dates of our regular meetings of the town council, which, of course, are subject to change. So, it's the same as last year, except for the dates of the council meetings. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Councilor Bedison?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2015-01, open meetings.
We have a motion, a second, for approval of resolution number 2015-01, open meetings. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bedison?
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things that the Council of Governments, along with the Silver City, Town of Silver City, and the New Mexico Municipal League did last year in the falls, we held an Open Meetings Act workshop with over 50 individuals coming. And so this is, these sorts of resolutions about open meetings were talked about in that workshop and how open meetings works. So this is obviously something that our residents can get a copy of and to find out how we proceed under different sorts of circumstances with different sorts of meetings. And I would encourage anyone who has any questions about open meetings to talk with the town clerk or with any one of the council members and the mayor and the town manager and the assistant town manager. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Amos Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to point out, since I'm a member of various town boards and since I was acknowledging all those volunteers, that this also sets in place that our boards are bound, we bind our boards to the Open Meetings Act too. And I think that that is a good thing. It means that we assure a level of public openness and transparency that is, I think, vital for good engagement.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and second for approval of resolution number 2015-01, open meetings. All those in favor, roll call. Sorry.
Councilor Bedford.
Aye.
Councilor Amos Smith. Aye. Councilor Ray.
Aye.
Councilor Con.
Right?
Motion carries. Next item under new business is approval, disapproval of bid number 14/15-3 Scott Park concession. Mr. Marshall or Peter?
Mayor, Council, we did receive 3 bids on this project, and the low bidder on this project was a non-responsive bid. He was missing some items from his bid. The 2 other bids that we did receive were outside of our budget. So what staff is recommending is that we reject all bids, and that at a future time that we rebid this project.
Any questions for Peter?
Just a little bit more information on that. What we like to do is we like to probably rebid this project after July. One of the reasons why we like to do it after July is because, as we all know, the Little League season is about to start here in about March. And what we like to do is we like to not have any construction going on during their season. We do have a formidable concession stand out there right now that has electricity, water, and we do have porta potties out there, so the season should go well. And after the season's over, we'd like to rebid this and get this constructed.
Any questions? Councilor Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to disapprove bid 14/15-3 Scott Park concession by staff recommendations until July, hopefully after July.
Would you like to reword that?
Okay. I move to disapprove of the, I'm sorry, I move to disapproval of bid 14-15-3 Scott Park concession by staff recommendation until after July 2015.
Do you mind if we replace disapprove with reject?
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I will second the motion with the correction that we move to reject bid number 14-15 Scott Park concession and per staff recommendation.
Until after July.
We have a motion and a second to reject bid number 14/15-6 Scott Park concession per staff recommendation. Is there any further discussion? We have a motion and a second to reject bid number 14/15-6 Scott Park concession per staff recommendation. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item under new business is approval, disapproval of the destruction of records from the Executive, Finance, Municipal Court, Police, Recreation Center, Public Library, and Utilities Departments. Quantity 138 boxes. And
is for our annual destruction of town records that have met the retention schedules per the state records and archives. The state has given their approval for the 138 boxes, and now I come to you to also get your approval before we do the destruction.
any questions or comments?
138.
Councilor Bedison?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the destruction of records from the Executive, Finance, Municipal Court, Police and Recreation Center, Public Library, and Utilities Departments in a quantity of 138 boxes.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Amos Smith?
I approve as stated, I second as stated, and I do approve.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the destruction of records from the Executive, Finance, Municipal Court, Police, Recreation Center, Public Library, and Utilities Departments, quantity 138 boxes. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second of the destruction of records from the Executive, Finance, Municipal Court, Police, Recreation Center, Public Library, and Utilities Department, quantity 138 boxes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is appointments to the Historic Design Review Committee. We have two current members who have reapplied for reappointment, Stephen Schellendick and Suzanne Gershenson. And after consulting with staff, it is recommended that we reappoint them, and I plan on doing so unless there's any objections. They are both appointed. Councilor Bedson?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to point out that we need to speak with museum department, with a subsidy museum, to replace the individual who is no longer an employee of the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Benson. And that is correct. Charmaine just left just recently. So we'll work with that. I'd like to entertain a motion to move into executive session. Councilor Benson.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we go into a short recess. Everybody's laughing at me. Prior to going into an executive session held pursuant to New Mexico State, I'm just saying MMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1, H8, meetings for the discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property by the public body as general property.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to go into recess, followed by executive session held pursuant to NMSA 1978, Sections 10-15-1, H8, meetings for the discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body. Roll call.
Councilor Edison?
Aye.
Councilor Amon Smith? Aye. Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Kano?
Aye.
We will be in executive session following a short recess. I call this meeting back to order. From executive session where no matters were discussed in the closed meeting. The items that were discussed in the closed meeting were limited only to those specified in the motion for closure. Roll call coming out.
To agree with
Councilor Bedison?
Aye.
Councilor Amon Smith?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Kano?
Aye.
All righty. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Councilor Bedison?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn. Mr. Mayor, I second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.